Rumors of the Gold Assassin, a mysterious figure murdering Altun emissaries in Mace, flew about the Whispering Wood. The conversation between two men drew the attention of Scratch, the vicious methods of killing reminding him of Katzin hunting techniques. After the others went to bed, he sought Jelltur and Piper's aid in gathering information on the attacks. Jelltur led them to the Friendly Face, where he failed at trying to keep his world separate, as Piper, Rose, Scratch, and Buck kept each other company while he went to speak with Bryn. Bryn instructed Jelltur on the best way to enter the Quill district, and after a brief discussion, their plan was as fleshed out as it was going to get. The three left to put it into action. Alright, so we left off with you guys leaving the Friendly Face and heading toward the East Gate into the District of Law.
Yeah, so on the way I'm going to tell them what everything Bryn told me.
I'm still at home asleep, right?
Yes, you and Kreg are both snoring and rattling the walls of the Whispering Wood, and there are several other patrons who are just like, what the fuck?
You'd think they would reinforce their room now.
The walls get a little thicker because Fern and Ivy and all of them make sure of it.
I was saying I would tell Piper that she'll have to do the talking to get us into the town guards that are guarding the East Gate. Eastgate. I forgot their names. I didn't care enough.
Good to know. I will do my best.
Pretty much up to you using your fancy words to get us in, because we need to be in the town, be in that part of town legally. We need to get our visa stamped.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll do my best.
All right, make our way to the East Gate.
All right, so as you head up to the East Gate, now the East Gate, keep in mind, is a very wide gate. Like, this is wide enough to allow several carriages to pass simultaneously, but it is currently closed. There seems to be, you know how some of those massive doors have like a doorway in it, so you could just kind of go through the little door, so you have to open the big door. You have a couple guards who are just kind of milling there. They're wearing the normal town guard like attire. They have like leather armors on, they have shields, they have swords, cloaks, because it is a little chilly. It is nearing winter, as I believe I had on the calendar. I will double check the calendar in the future. But they also have the sigil of the Morning Stars, that mace, but it's on their shields and it's in white on their armor, not the gold that the Morning Stars have. It just seems to be the sigil of the city.
Okay. It's just like that momentary like freeze when I see it. That's like, wait a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will approach, take off my hat, give a little bow. It's a beautiful night, is it not?
It's a bit cold, the one man says, and the woman kind of looks at him like, really? She looks back and is like, well, how can we help you? It's kind of late to be traveling around.
I know. I was hoping I could actually see what taverns would allow performers in the Quill district. At least to put my name in there to perform perhaps tomorrow night.
Well, there's the man's like, there's a couple. I mean, we got, the Pot of Ink probably wouldn't want any performers just because it's supposed to be a quiet place. The Quill district, probably not, but you might want to check the Boiling Kettle over in the Sword district. And again, the woman just kind of looks at him like, shut up. Ma'am, she turns, they don't just let anyone perform in the Law district. That one you need to have
a permit for.
Yeah, you need to have a permit, and you need to be of a certain caliber.
Oh, forgive me. I'm new to the city, but I'm starting to make a name for myself. The Amazing Pied Piper.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
With my renown?
Yeah, with your renown, yes.
Not as good as I had hoped. Only a 14.
14? The woman doesn't seem as swayed, but the guy's like eyes go a little wide. Just starts smacking around. What? She's the one that did the song at the Two-Headed Trout. What? You know, the one at the two-headed trout about the dragon slayer? Simone just kind of looks at him, looks at you, and goes, "Is that you? Are you the one who was singing at the two-headed trout a couple nights ago?"
Yes, I was, darling.
Well, she kind of looks around like, I suppose the boiling kettle probably still has something going on. You can go talk to them. These your, companions here?
They are. Mr. Atri and Mr. Jactus.
Mr. Atri.
Yes, Mr. Atri and what'd you call me?
Mr. Jactus.
Like,
Mr. Jactus was not a name that threw her at all, but Mr. Atri, she's just like, is that his real name? She asked to see your visas.
I show her my visa.
She looks at it. All right. She takes out a little stamp and stamps your visas. This is good for 24 hours in the district. If you get a performance gig, they'll give you the paperwork you need to come back. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Atri. You all have a nice day. And she'll unlock the door to, like, let you through. And it's actually kind of interesting because it's going through the large wooden door that would stop, like, for the caravans. It's not directly through the door. There's actually, like, a hollowed area through the door you have to walk through to another door, which is unlocked on that side.
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a pleasant evening.
The man's like, yeah, you too. Good night. And Simone just looks at him like,
Luckily, they didn't look closely at mine thanks to your name scratch.
I just kind of give you a little bit of a wink. That's kind of why I did it the way I did it.
Alright, so you enter into, as I pull up my map so I can see, you enter into the Sword District.
Let me pull up my map.
And as you look, everything in the Sword District is very lined out. Like, before, the buildings were kind of chaotic. Things were built into each other, up around each other, just kind of piled on each other. In the Sword District, everything is in perfect rows, perfectly spaced, perfect everything. And it is almost as unnerving as the chaos is the amount of order you just stepped into.
Chaos?
The chaos of the streets in...
Okay.
Because the streets in the market district are chaotic. There's buildings everywhere. The streets don't always make sense. You can find yourself in an alley. You can find yourself turned around. But this is like New York City. Everything is laid out in a grid system kind of organization.
As if they were built as needed outside the wall.
Right. Everything outside the wall was built by people who just needed a place to live or had the money to do something. Here, everything is intentional. This was designed.
So how do we actually get to the Quill district?
The doors that you would take you between the two, you're not able to see on that middle wall just because they'd be so small. So you do see across the way from you are large gates that would bring you into the castle district, but that's not where you're going. Yeah. Also, you do see a contingent of Morning Stars that seem to be standing guard out front of that.
Yeah, avoid that.
Don't want to deal with that.
So you can either go around the north way or you can go around the south way. The south way there, you can see a very large building, like larger than the castle itself. Not as tall, but definitely as wide. But the other direction to the north, you see mostly like laid out areas.
Are there any people on the street that I could possibly ask what a boiling kettle is?
There are a few people walking around. Mostly soldiers or guard, but yeah. there are a few civilian individuals that are walking around.
Let's ask a civilian.
Yes.
Right. So you walk up to a man who looks like he's probably some kind of like waiter or cook or something, and he's walking by, kind of smoking a pipe as he's moving, and you approach him.
Good evening, sir. You would happen to know where the other place called Boiling Kettle is, would you?
Oh, yeah, I'm coming from there. He points back towards the south. Just head on down, and when it starts getting loud, you found the right place.
Thank you very much. Also, you said there should be an entrance to the Quill district down here, right?
Oh yeah, there's one right by the boiling kettle, but you can't miss it. It's just a couple blocks over from the training yard.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. And he just kind of continues on.
So go over to the boiling kettle, and I guess I'll go in to see if I can arrange a performance for perhaps tomorrow evening with them.
All right. So as you walk in, you see that this place is full of guards. There's not a single Morning Star among them, but it is full of guards, and it is very rowdy. And as you walk in, you realize that it's different than most taverns you've walked into. You step in, and there is a fence around a approximately 20 by 20 square of the floor, and there are tables surrounding it. And as you get closer to the fence, you see that the floor has been broken away, and you're looking down in the basement. And there's a fighting pit in the basement where you just see these two guys wailing on each other, just punching each other in the face, going back and forth. And it seems like there are people taking bets on it, throwing money down, that kind of stuff. And there is a half-elf woman behind the bar taking drinks, taking orders for drinks and handing them out. And there is a half-orc man who is walking around chatting with people, and he sees you come in, and you see him grin. He's got like one broken tusk, one pristine one. And he walks over and goes, "Evening! You don't look like my usual crew. Coming in to enjoy the fights?"
Actually, I was hoping I could inquire about performing here, perhaps like tomorrow.
Performer.
To accompany the fights and keep the mood up.
You probably want to come talk to my wife. My name's Corbin, by the way.
Corbin, I offer my hand. Piper, the amazing Pied Piper. It's a pleasure to meet you.
And he grips your hand very tightly, and he's not doing it on purpose. You can just tell he's just that strong. He shakes your hand. He's like, "Corbin Bone Crusher, nice to meet you. Come on, I'll take you over to my wife."
Subtle.
Yeah, like a flying brick. So he
Those are
goes
very
over. He goes over to the bar and he goes, Glade, and he like waves her over. "I'll take the bar. You talk to her." And he like switches places with her. And this beautiful half-elven woman, she has her hair tied back. She's wearing an apron, and she walks over and goes, "Good evening. I'm Glade Bonecrusher. How can I help you?"
Good evening, Glade. I was actually hoping to inquire about performing here tomorrow night, if you take entertainers, of course.
We do. It is rare that we do. A lot of people come here to blow off some steam, as we say.
Mm.
So, I guess drinking and singing, do you have a time slot? We usually open around dinner time. They come, they eat, and then the fights start. Well, we started about an hour and a half ago, so it's a kind of a narrow window between when we start after the work day and when they start brawling. You probably wouldn't be able to be heard, and you hear just this roaring cheer that you can't hear anything she's saying as one guy just goes down in the pit. And she's like, she kind of waits. Okay, as you can tell, at a certain point, you wouldn't be heard at all.
Yeah. Is there a time that you would prefer me to come? I could perform during dinner if that would help, bring the mood up and get people kind of like riled up for the fighting.
Between dinner and the fights is perfectly fine.
Sure.
We unfortunately don't really have much of an entertainer budget, so it'd probably only be about 5 gold for you to perform, but you can collect any tips you'd like.
I would love to perform for you lot. I'm new to Mace, so I'm trying to kind of get my name out there a little bit.
Understandable. Hold on, let me get the paperwork. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
So she goes off to a place, like she goes through a door, and make a perception check.
Perception is... Oh, right, because I forgot that.
Every good fight needs a soundtrack.
Every good fight does need a soundtrack. That's right. Advantage. Forgot about that. Thank God for the advantage. 15.
15?
We count.
I mean, if you'd like to take a look, you can as well.
I have a 21.
You definitely see it then. There is a thick padding of what looks like not so much wool as it is untreated wool. It is like right off a sheep kind of shorn, padding the wall of the inside of the door, of everything, like the other side of that wall.
Insulation against noise.
Insulation against noise. So she's in there. It must be completely, if not completely silent, definitely quieter in there. And she comes back a few minutes later with the paperwork, and she works it out through with you, what you discussed, the amount. She'll basically give you valets. She doesn't specifically give a number of valets that you can bring into the district, but it's for a one-time performance with the ability to have more in the future if it goes well.
Okay, that's perfectly acceptable, and I really do appreciate it.
So she has you sign it and everything, and she goes, so this is your copy. Make sure you have it when you come to the gates.
Of course. And thank you again. I really do appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. We look forward to hearing you tomorrow. And then that roar happens again, and you see her close her eyes. The smile is there, but it's definitely not real. And as soon as the roar dies away, she opens her eyes, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Galade. Have a good
I wonder
night.
how many times she's been in that pit.
Enough.
I thought she's been in that pit. Had to bust some ass.
So I'll return to Scratch and Jelltur. We're good for tomorrow, and I'm sure at least Kreg, maybe even Kradod, might enjoy the fighting bit. It might, occupy him and, if
Help him let off some steam.
Yeah, exactly.
At the
it'll
boiling
be
kettle.
a good place for him to be beaten up.
As long as it doesn't kill anyone, I don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So good. Mechanically, how do those papers work? Does that give us one day, or does it give us as many days as we get work?
That gives you access to the district. The paperwork states one entry and exit with the ability to get that re-upped by the tavern owners that have hired you.
Okay, so the tavern owners would have to re-up it every day.
Or give you different paperwork that gave you access to this section of the city.
Got it. Please make sure it goes well.
I will do my best.
Either way, it works out for us to actually come back another day, but right now we should head to
Specifically tomorrow. It is
let's-
dated for tomorrow.
Specifically not.
Yes.
Specifically tomorrow, but right now we should head to the pot of ink.
We get to go explore the Quill district, and then we'll go back and actually get some rest.
And to get from one district to the other, at this point, all you need to do is show your visas that have the stamp, and they just let you through. There's no talking required at that point.
Yep.
In my head, Kreg and only have the paperwork of that we are supposed to be in the city. That's all we have. So,
Right, but the paperwork that Piper just picked up says her and her valets. It doesn't give a number.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah, we can all get in now.
Exactly.
These people know exactly how to manipulate the system they live in.
Fair.
Yeah, like they know how this works.
And plus, if she brings more people, that means more money for them at their tavern.
Right.
Yeah. So, do we head to the other bar?
All right. So you exit the District of the Sword, the District of Law Sword, and enter the District of Law Quill. And this is not a stark contrast to the Sword, but as you enter it, you don't see that same uniformity of the buildings. They're built differently from each other, they have different architectures, so it's almost like walking through a museum of buildings as you walk through. The streets are lined with exotic plants that seem to be on display more than grown for any reason other than appearance. And oil lanterns that are hanging, they are ornate and designed specifically to allow it's like walking through the daytime with the amount of light that you're getting. There's every like 6 feet or so, there's another lantern. So you get the feeling that this is a perfectly safe place to be walking around. There are people passing you. No one seems to be concerned. You're a little dirty compared to them, but
this is, like you said, this is the place where all the scholars and diplomats are, so.
Right.
It's funny that this is where the Gold Assassin seems to be operating out of, with it being so well lit.
Yeah, it does seem to be.
Which means he's really good.
And the thing is,
really
the people
good.
are walking without fear, but the people that are walking around are human.
They're not
or half
gold elves.
They're not goat elves. So while a lot of people in the market district hear about it and they're talking in whispers, it's more like like something is going on. The people here don't seem to be afraid because I'm not a gold elf. What do I have to worry about?
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually you make your way to the pot of ink.
Okay, so... I was going to say, so according to what Bryn said, the last 2 gold elves here are Kalia and Sven.
Kalia and Sven, yeah.
Would you like to head up this part of the conversation in the pot of ink?
I don't fucking know where to even begin. You guys, as a check, Scratch wants to just look for the gold assassin. I just gotta swear. I got you where I need to get you, man. What do you want to do here, Scratch?
That would be more Piper's area for talking to people. So.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Huh, it's almost like bringing all 3 people who have the needed skills was a good idea. So you step inside, and now here's where the stark contrast comes in. Because this place is nothing like the Boiling Kettle. It feels... Piper would probably be the one who gets this feeling more than anyone, but it feels like stepping into a tea house or a tea room instead of a tavern. Everything is prim, proper, and very homey. And it is quiet. Not the quiet because there's no one there. It is the quiet of a library, the quiet of a tea room that has that, if anyone's talking, it's in very low tones to the person at their table, but most people are not sharing a table. But as you look around, you do see there are a couple people who are sharing tables, a couple people who are looking over books together. There is one couple that maybe he thinks it's a date, but she just thinks they're going over contracts. And in the back, there are a pair of gold elves that are sitting very solemnly, just kind of looking at... They have cups in front of them, but you don't think it's alcohol. And you are approached by a woman wearing a very modest kind of set of robes, like wizardly robes, but you can tell she's not a wizard. Mm-hmm. And she steps up and goes, in a very quiet voice, "Welcome to the Pot of Ink. Do you need a table for 3?
That would be lovely, thank you."
She kind of bows to you, goes off and prepares the table, and then gestures to you that you are able to go to your table.
Go over to our table.
Alright. She puts a menu in front of each of you. She doesn't ask you your drink order. She puts a menu in front of you. And then walks away.
Listen, I don't know about you guys, but I think I want to stay here tonight.
It's quiet. It's really nice.
Facts. Also, they might have showers.
Scratch, you are getting a few odd looks. Piper as well, but Scratch, you are getting odd looks.
I bet I am.
You think what? They act like they never been to the friendly face.
They probably haven't. Also, none of the people at the friendly face had seen a Katzen before either.
Well, no, I meant for
till now.
for Piper.
Piper is getting more odd looks because tieflings are exceptionally rare. You have met one other tiefling in your travels.
Technically, two. Changelings
Pipers
count.
are rare. I'm a mythic rare.
Changelings count.
Changelings don't count as legitimate tieflings.
Changelings count.
Do I hear anything? I mean, you said everyone's talking quietly, so I guess
Right.
I can't hear it.
Perception check.
Perception. 17.
17.
15.
15.
12.
12. All right, so Jelltur, you're just kind of looking around like, this would be a great place to stay tonight. You're like thinking this, not saying it out loud. Yeah. It's quiet. Kreg's not shaking the walls. This would be great. Scratch, you're hearing nothing, really. But that's actually what because you're focusing on the gold elves. They're not talking. Like, they are pointedly not talking. And their silence seems to be saying volumes. It's a very much an uncomfortable silence at that table.
Brian.
And then Piper, you notice that as well, but you also, because it's you hear that the man at the other table who thinks he's on a date, he keeps, saying, not suggestive in a way of inappropriate, but like suggesting certain things, and she is kind of shutting him down.
I reach into the satchel and I hold the stone, and I cast Detect Thoughts on the gold elf.
All right, so the male or the female?
The male.
All right, so you go into the surface of Sven's mind, and you are just, it is fear. It is terror. He is sitting there trying to figure out, when he's convinced that he's going to die. Like, if I leave this place, I die. This thing is coming for me. I have no idea when it's going to come, but it's coming for me. I'm going to die. They got him last night. I'm going to die.
I'd like to shift it over to the other one.
All right, so as you shift it, you get that from that I'm going to die kind of mentality to I'm not going to die. There's got to be a way out of this. There has to be a way I can figure something out. We can figure something out. We are the you kind of get we're the superior race kind of attitude from her, but she's sitting there like there has to be a way out of this. So he's kind of resolved to giving up. She is, I need to find a way out. She's willing to grasp onto any semblance of hope, whereas he is just in spiral mode.
But nothing on... Yeah, I can't find out why they might... If they know why they'd be targeted.
Not without delving deeper or talking to them. You can also send Piper to talk to them.
I think Piper's more focused on the wannabe couple.
Yeah, Piper was looking at the couple. She was going up, and Scratch just kind of put his hand on your shoulder like, nope.
So I sit down a little bit dejected, so I just kind of like glance to the girl and I send her a message.
Ha!
I don't need to go over there. So I just message her and say, don't be alarmed, but if you need an out from that situation, come join the tiefling, cat, and halfling at our table. Name's Piper.
You see her kind of look up. She covers her mouth because she knows how a message works.
Mm-hmm.
And she just kind of whispers back to you, I may take you up on that later, but he's just a clod. We have class together. Thank you for the help.
I give her a nod, then look over to Scratch. Yes, darling?
The gold elves. The male, Sven, he seems to have given up. He thinks he's going to die and he's resolved to it. The woman, though, she will latch onto any way out.
And we are that way
we'll
out.
See what you can find out.
Oh.
Quite possibly, anyway.
Okay, now, pause for 1 second.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm talking in a low voice. What exactly are we trying to do here right now?
What do you mean?
What is Scratch's goal? Is he just trying to find a gold assassin, or is he trying to protect the gold elves?
I have no interest in the gold elves, but if they're being targeted, they might know why.
Okay, but I'm trying to get... We're not specifically trying to fight the gold assassin.
I don't care.
The strategy the gold assassin is using is similar to somebody from Scratch's tribe, which may or may not mean that there is a Katzen or somebody mimicking his style.
Yeah, I want to find the gold assassin and find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And if these are what the gold assassin is targeting...
If you're with the target, the assassin will be there eventually.
I just want to make sure you don't promise me anything that we're not going to uphold.
Oh, I'm not promising them shit.
Yeah, just making sure.
But if a chance appears, the woman will latch onto it. Right now, she will take any chance that she can get.
Kalia is more likely to be cooperative than Sven.
Yeah.
So, what do you want me to
That's why
say? Or not say, rather.
Don't mention that we think it's a Katzen, because they might kill me.
Obviously not.
See if you can find out who, either if it's someone they know, or see if you can find out why they might be targeted. There's only 2 of them left. They might know something.
This is true. Wish me luck. I will excuse myself to go over to the Gold Elves.
Right. So as you approach their table, they kind of look up. Sven in like fear, like, oh my god, is this it? Kalia in like, no, like that's his expression. Kalia's expression is more like the audacity of this bitch. As you approach, like, how dare this person? Because you also notice that there's not a lot of cross-table communication in this place. So as you get over to their table, I'm assuming you like take out a chair and sit down, because hovering over their table would probably be frowned on in this establishment.
Of course.
Sit down, and Kalia is just kind of looking at you like, how dare? But they don't say anything immediately when you sit down.
I could not help but recognize a sense of nervousness. I mean, with the recent events going on, I'm sure.
Kalia kind of stiffens, but Sven kind of droops, and Kalia will answer you. Yes, we have been dealing with some difficulties in our time here.
That is most unfortunate to hear. My companions and I are actually starting to look into the cause of these difficulties to hopefully alleviate them for you.
She kind of like cocks an eyebrow at you. In what way?
Well, if the source of the difficulties were to be found and handled, wouldn't that benefit you?
Greatly, in fact. Piper, how's your Elvish?
I don't know Elvish. I speak 2 languages.
Alright.
I have detect thoughts up.
Right. So the elves go back and forth in their native language for a moment. It's very brief, but it's enough that they're having a conversation they're purposely trying to leave Piper out of. Scratch, what you pick up on with detect thoughts is Kalia is saying that they should utilize these assets, or this asset, because she only knows Piper, even though she was sitting at that table. And if they die, if these assets die instead of them, at least that's a barrier between them and the assassin. Sven's like, well, what's the point? We're gonna die anyway, and Kalia just kind of shuts him down. You're not getting their exact wording because they're speaking Elvish and you're reading their thoughts at the same time. You get more of their... You know how when you think, you don't think in complete sentences?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All I get is the idea.
Yeah, you get the idea. She's saying, like, let's let them die instead of us, because at the very least, either they catch this person and we're home free, or it gives that person, the assassin, something else to focus on for a couple days and might give us buy us some time.
Yep, that's what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm. So, Kalia will turn back to you. I think that we can accept this help. What do you need from us in order to hold up your end of this?
Honestly, any information that you have would be of use. As pertaining to what's been going on.
Very well. My compatriots and I came here a few weeks ago. We were sent by Queen Althea to begin working on a trade agreement between the Altrun and Mace regions. As we got here, we started spending our nights at the Pot of Ink, and a few of us would go out to explore the city a little. And that is when our corpses began showing up. We took this as a criminal attack rather than a political one, However, it's beginning to look more and more as though our safety in Mace is being taken lightly by the guard. We have asked multiple times to have morning stars at our disposal and been told that that is not how it works here. And we have asked several times to be moved to the castle. Again, denied. The attacks all happened at night while we were wandering about. And we started staying in. However, one of our own was murdered in his own bed. That one, a thin cord of leather wrapped around his throat, and his body hurled out a window. And, Scratch, you still have Detect Thoughts up?
Yes, I do.
You get the image of that description in her mind, and you recognize very much a snare that you would use for hunting. So we have taken to locking our doors and windows, putting things in front of them, but this is no way to live. We can't exit the city without the wrath of our queen coming down on us, and we can't finish our diplomatic mission if we can't leave to go to the places we need to go to. We're trapped.
The things that you need to do, they require you being out at night?
Not always at night. However, certain diplomatic interactions are only possible at galas, events.
Of course.
Where people meet. Galas and events are the only way to meet certain people outside of going to their offices where they have barriers in place. We are unable to get our work done. We are unable to return home. We are trapped.
Can you think of any factions, individuals that might be against this trade agreement going through?
There are many in the world that do not appreciate our empire to the west. There are many that do not like our queen. Perhaps people who wish to keep Mace, quote-unquote, free of elven influence.
No factions come to mind specifically.
Nothing that comes to mind specifically. The Morning Stars are loyal lapdogs of the king. The king can only make money off of this deal. There's no thieves' guild of consequence in this city that would matter. The religions are dying. There's nothing that the churches here lack enough power to interact with each other, let alone with our endeavors. Maybe some low-level noble, but they're so insignificant that I wouldn't even have a name to provide. It's like we're being attacked by a ghost. Last night's attack, the sun was barely setting when it happened. Just about a block away from here. I don't even think they've cleaned up yet.
Really? It happened last night and they still haven't...
Well, to be fair, few hours. It's probably about 1 a.m. at this point. This happened at sunset.
Okay, fair. Oh, that's right, because they were talking about the gold assassin struck again. Gotcha.
Poor Yorin. He was running late, returning from a meeting.
I see. Is there anything else that you can think of before we go and investigate?
Nothing comes to mind. I mean, he was speaking to an ambassador about possibly cutting some roads through the wilds. There's a dense forest that just takes up too much space. Paving it down would definitely make life a lot easier for trades. I think his name was Johansson. That's where Yorin was going.
And he had already spoken to the ambassador and was on his way back.
He must have been running late from the meeting, and the assassin struck as twilight was setting in.
Alright. Well, thank you. We'll see what we can do.
I'd appreciate that.
And I do apologize for interrupting you before.
She just kind of gives you a nod, And as soon as the conversation is over, you have been dismissed. It's like you're not there anymore.
Uh-huh. I go back to Scratch and Jelltur, so, we have a location, and, pretty sure we're unfortunately right about, we have a motive. Let's go. Leave a payment for what we ordered.
Alright. And you kind of like Irish goodbye it. You put the money down and you leave, and that seems to be the proper thing to do in this establishment. No need to talk, you just pay and leave. And then you're back out into the cold, cobbled streets of the Quill district.
Bryan, as I'm leaving, I speaking to that guy's head. Hey man, listen, she's not into you, man. You gotta stop this. It's pretty sad to watch. Like, just back off. Do the study work. Chill. Try to be friends at least, man.
Jelltur, do me a favor. Just roll an intimidation check.
Intimidation. So 16.
Yeah, he got a 6. So he just like, you see him jump, his leg slams the table, and he just goes, ah!
I don't even make eye contact. I keep walking.
Yeah, no,
I don't even look his direction.
I just want that to be an idea that popped into his head.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, he's looking around, like, where'd that come from? And the rest of the establishment is glaring daggers at him. Like, he just broke a rule. He just broke an unwritten rule. And the woman who's, like, seated you goes over there and she's whispering to him very harsh words in a very harsh tone. So yeah, you guys just walk out. He is none the wiser. And you guys exit onto the cold cobbled streets of the Quill district. This has been the Reliably Chaotic podcast. Champions of Solane is an original Dungeons & Dragons adventure written by Bryan Scharf using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rule set published by Wizards of the Coast. My name is Bryan Scharf, and I've been your DM. You can reach me at ReliableDM on Twitter.
My name is Nicole Summers, and I play Piper.
This is Jair, also known as JJ, and I play the character of Jelltur Jactus.
This is Matthew Reed, and I play Scratch.
This is Andrew Brown, and I play Kreg.
Greetings, listener. It is I, Sara, and I portray fan favorite Kradod Deephead.
Theme music by Adrian von Ziegler. All other music by Kevin MacLeod on the Incompetech website and Adrian von Ziegler. Detailed information about music in this episode is provided in its description. Music for this episode was selected by Nicole Summers. The episode was edited by Matthew Reed with assistance from Sara. Contact us out on Twitter at Reliably Chaotic, email us at reliablychaotic@gmail.com, or join our Discord server by following the link in our description. If you like our show and would like to support us, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/reliablychaotic or by leaving a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It really does help a lot. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again in our next adventure.
Poor Yorlin, I knew thee well.
I'll stab you. And it's Yorin, not Yorlin. Yorin.
Urine?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yorin! I mean, he's dead, so I don't know why I'm defending his name, but it's Yorin.